I am not going to talk first about the Educational Bookshop. I'm going to play you a message from the Educational Bookshop, which arrived about 2 hours ago from Mahmoud, who is the first speaker, and then Ahmed, his nephew, sorry, and then Mahmoud finishes. This is about 4 minutes long.
Good afternoon. This is Mahmoud Muna, and I'm here in my house, in my living room, on day 20 of the restrictions that has been imposed on us since leaving custody 20 days ago. It's actually a bittersweet moment. In a way, we're finishing these unjust restrictions that has been imposed on us, but in a way we are very happy because tomorrow is the ending of these restrictions and we'll be able to go back to the bookshop, the place in which I have personally spent the last 40 years of my life in. I'm looking forward to go back to my community, to go back to my shelves and my books and to my good conversations with my community. I would like to thank all the people around the world who have helped us. Particularly at this point, I would like to thank the book industry, the writers, the authors, people who have really believed in the power of the words and in the importance of literature to liberate and to inspire and to create imaginations.
Good evening. This is Ahmed. I am also here at home in Jerusalem. I want to start by thanking everybody who have came to help, to support, to stand in solidarity. We have actually received messages, emails from all corners of the world. Everybody who we have met over the years, have been in touch. So we really very much thank all of the solidarity, and we see how this is all a community that is coming all together. I want to highlight also that a topic that's often not spoken about when it comes to the books, to talking about this issue, is the 2 days that we have spent in custody. Mahmoud and I have went through a horrendous experience. We've experienced being in prison and jail with very minimum rights, with a lot of brutality and aggression. And it makes you wonder how many innocent people also have to go through this process. We're lucky to have a community stand behind us. We have lucky to have so many people from the world who came to stand in solidarity, but it's really something that requires and needs us to think about and to keep these people in our mind. It's also not surprising that the bookshops are being basically attacked or harassed in that sense. Books and literature are a very important tool in changing societies, in promoting social change, political change. And we have seen that this have also become a bookshop, and booksellers have also become a target in a way to limit people's freedom and freedom of speech.
Thank you, Mahmoud, for staging this event, for bringing this wider community in London and beyond. Thank you very much for all those on the panel who will be speaking and who already spoke. We are sorry that we're not with you, but we are with you in heart and in mind. Thank you very much. Both of us, we look forward to see you in Jerusalem or somewhere else. Do please continue to speak truth to power. Do continue, please, to inspire. Do continue, please, to support not just the Educational Bookshop in Jerusalem, but all those bookstores around the world, all those free thinkers, all those people who are trying to bring some goodness to a society at a time when we need so much change. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Palestine. Palestine's not my country, and it never will be my country. I am a fourth-generation immigrant to Britain. All 8 of my great-grandparents arrived here between 1887 and 1913, and all 8 of them were Jewish. Many Palestinians, and I'm sure many people in this room today as well, cannot visit Palestine because of the passport I hold, British, because of my skin color, because of the fact that I was born into the religion that I was born into. I'm very lucky to have visited Palestine dozens of times, or hundreds of times, since I was a child. The only foreign holidays that we ever took when I was growing up were to Israel. When I was 13, my father arranged for me to have my bar mitzvah twice. Once at the synagogue that we went to at home in South London, in Croydon, and again at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. Israel, as a force for good, filled the first 20 years of my life. The next 20, thanks again to my passport and to my skin color and to the bundle of privileges that come along with that, I was able to move around. I lived in Cairo, I lived in Amman, I traveled through Syria and Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. I visited Sabra and Shatila in Beirut and all over Palestine, listening to new stories or listening to new ways of telling the stories that I thought I already understood. Slowly grasping the scale of the injustice that had been committed, ostensibly in my name and for my benefit. And then I started writing about it. 3 weeks ago, to the day, I got a call from a friend in Jordan, Juliet Touma. Juliet leads communications for UNRWA, but she also helped edit and was one of the inspirations for this book, Daybreak in Gaza. She asked me when I had last been in touch with Mahmoud. I'm lucky to have known Mahmoud for years. Any writer, any reader, anyone who has any connection with books of any kind, or media, or study, who happens to pass through Jerusalem knows Mahmoud because of the bookshop that he runs, which is literally, I mean, he'll excuse me if he's watching on YouTube, literally the best bookshop in the world for the Middle East. Nowhere else, not in London, not in New York, certainly not at the moment in New York anyway, can you find as comprehensive a range of books on Israel and Palestine as you can there. And Mahmoud is able to talk to you in detail about every single one. For the last year, Mahmoud and I have spoken pretty much every day working on this book. Last autumn, we spent, give or take, 6 weeks traveling together 24/7, doing a book tour around the UK and around Europe as well, speaking at public events. I looked at my phone and I checked when I'd last spoken to him, and I told Juliet that I'd last spoken to him 2 or 3 days previously. And then she said that she had heard just then from the Brazilian ambassador to Palestine, who had been called by the Mexican ambassador to Palestine, who was saying that there were rumors that Mahmoud had been arrested. I tried Mahmoud's number, he didn't pick up. Then I called his wife, and she confirmed that Israeli police had raided the bookshop that afternoon and taken Mahmoud and Ahmed, the two that we heard speaking before, away. The period that followed was horrendous. There were hundreds upon hundreds of messages of support and solidarity as we were scrambling to try and make sense of the situation, to try and get some communication to and from. There was the shock of the TV pictures, seeing Mahmoud and Ahmed bewildered and handcuffed, being dragged into the court. Circles of friends gathered to support them from around the world. Publishers and colleagues started activating solidarity networks. Ahmad also activated its own solidarity network as well. It was non-stop. You know the details of what happened. As you've heard, Mahmoud, thankfully, and Ahmed both are okay. And tomorrow they'll be able to go back to the bookshop after 2 days in jail, 5 days of house arrest, and 20 days of a ban on them going anywhere near the bookshop at all. For him, Mahmoud, and for me, and I would imagine for most of us in this room, the last year has been a bit of a life changer for all sorts of reasons. I just want to say, I'll be brief because I know there's hundreds of people, dozens of people behind me waiting to come on. I do want to say a few words about what the people of Palestine, and especially Gaza, have taught me, even as they were facing genocidal violence from the Israeli state. Two quotes matter here, and they're both, I'm sorry, from very familiar sources. One is the Palestinian-American academic Edward Said, and the other is the Palestinian national poet Mahmoud Darwish, who wrote in 2002, in a very beautiful, longer poem, this is a tiny extract called Under Siege. Here, on the slopes of hills, facing the dusk and the cannon of time, close to the gardens of broken shadows, we do what prisoners do and what the jobless do. We cultivate hope. Now, cultivating hope is such a powerful, extraordinarily powerful idea that has sustained me over the last appalling 12 to 18 months. Hope is not something you walk into the supermarket, you go down aisle 17, there's a line of hope, you take hope, you pick it off the shelf, you put it in your pocket, that's hope. And then you're hopeful. It doesn't work like that. Hope has to be cultivated. You have to plant it. You have to nurture it and water it and feed it and encourage it. And if you are able to do that, it will transform, and it will transform you, and it will transform the surroundings as well. Hold on, if you can, to that idea of how the Palestinian people cultivate hope. And then there's Edward Said, and he said, I'm paraphrasing slightly, in a situation of cruelty and injustice, hopelessness is submission, and to submit is immoral. This is another key idea on that book tour, going around speaking to audiences much like this one, live audiences around Europe. So many people in Britain and elsewhere were saying to me, you know, it's hopeless. I'm in despair. I don't know what to do. The situation is terrible. That we can't act. What can we do? The situation it's bleak beyond belief. For Said, and I should say, for pretty much everybody that we spoke to in Gaza and around Gaza for this book, hopelessness is privilege. And it's a privilege that they can't afford. We, in our comfortable homes, with our at least nominally democratic governments, have the choice to be bleak and to be despairing. But others do not. If they want to live, if they want to survive, to think, to create, to build, to feed their kids, because bleakness and despair represent submission to the oppressors. The people of Gaza and of all Palestine have much to teach the world about despair and hope and resilience and courage and how to prevail. And we should be listening to them. I just want to end, please, with one tiny little 10-second message from an extraordinary woman in Gaza whose name is Amani Shaltout. And she looks after the UNRWA, the United Nations Photo Archive in Gaza City. She was displaced. When she recorded this, she sent a longer message. This is 10 seconds of a message that I want you to take with you today.
Many, many thanks for you and for all those who stand in solidarity with Gaza. It's really, really appreciated. And actually, what you are doing is a turning point in history.
Thanks very much indeed.